Hey YouTubers, this is attorney Jack from CruiseCasinoMafia.com, and this is part 2 of a video I did about a week ago where I promised you guys that people that are coming to the channel, some of them are just roulette players, and Baccarat is something that's totally new to them. So in the first video, it did go a little longer than I expected, but I hope people got something out of it. New people that have never really seen the game before, hopefully go back and watch part 1. You'll understand the game of Baccarat, at least the basics on what you need to know to be able to walk in, sit down, and make a bet. And I went over multiple bet selections, different ways to determine whether we're betting banker or player, which is basically the only decisions in our systems that you really have to make is banker or player. And the second decision is what to do, how much, what's the bet amount. And I told you that we would do a second video to kind of give you a better idea of some concepts for money management than you see on most of the videos on YouTube where people are just martingaling and doubling and doubling and doubling. So before we get into that, I want to do a little bit of a cleanup. So the first thing is I love to change the name of one of the bet selections. So I was going back and forth, probably confused the hell out of people. So when I say second to last, what I'm talking about is time before last. So time before last is the result before the last result. Okay, time before last. So that's what that is. So I say second to last or whatever, and I always screw that one up. So the other thing I wanted to do as a cleanup here before we get started is there's another bet selection, if you want to call it that, or a bet selection method that some YouTubers, fairly decent sized channels talk about. And I don't want to cause any controversy or start anything. That's not what I'm here to do. But I didn't cover that in the first video, and I guess it's worth stating what it is. So a couple of different channels do what they call card counting for Baccarat. So we know what card counting is in blackjack, and that it was invented years and years ago to give you a basically an advantage over the casino by knowing how many 10 cards or cards that equal the number 10 are left in the shoe. Well, that's become much harder to do, obviously, when you have 6 and 8 deck shoes, but people still do card counting. Well, that's what they refer to this method that they show on some of these channels. It really isn't card counting, in my opinion, because they're just coming up with a random way of, I don't know. Some of them are doing where they take the larger, the amount. Let's say player has a 9 and banker has a 5, and they get a count of a 4, which magically tells them to bet on player instead of banker, things of that nature. Now, my feeling on this, and we'll move right along, is that every time I've asked a question regarding why that matters, the methodology, what is the math, what is the logic behind card counting in Baccarat, I've always gotten a no answer, meaning absolutely zero answer, clueless answer. But yet these channels continue to push this thing that magically multiplying and subtracting and doing whatever magic you're doing by you know the card values from the hands prior to the one that you're playing somehow give you a way of determining how to to play player or banker. If anyone has a better understanding of that and gives me a logical reason why any of that magic works, go ahead and I'd be happy to learn what that is. But every time I've asked, I've never gotten a straight answer. So it's as good as flipping a coin, and that's my understanding of card counting in Baccarat as I see it today. If something changes, I'd be happy to do a video on that. So let's move on. We're 4 minutes into the video, and I promised on part 2 I was going to give you a little bit of magic of my own. And what we stated at the end of the last video was that, yes, there are bet selections that are better than others. Yes, there are bet selections that you may be more fond of than others. And I made the statement that the importance of the way you manipulate your money, the way that you manage your money, is far more important than guessing whether you play banker or player or having a bet selection system. And I left that up to you, okay, to kind of analyze the bet selections I gave you. And there's tons of YouTube channels that have some crazy bet selection that you may like or not like. But I'm going to repeat it again. What makes a consistent long-term winning player is how you manage your bets and your money. It's not going to come down to the bet selection by itself. All right? So let's move on. So the first thing I want to tell you, totally honest here, is that we have private money management systems that we only give to our members of Cruise Casino Mafia. Our opinion is that these two volumes are worth gold because nobody, almost nobody, is giving you a full view of the different money management systems that are fair and reasonable to you to be able to play. So most of the YouTube channels are just doubling up after losses. They may be doing a 1, 2, 4, 8. They may be doing a 1, 3, 5, 7. Who knows what they're doing? And some of them are telling you that they're not martingaling because they're manipulating it a little bit and they're doing a bit of a hybrid. But the bottom line is they're still betting way more for what they're making, meaning that they may be betting 10 units to make 1. And to me, that's never worked out. That's never been the way to play in the casino. So let me give you a quick glimpse of what other people get when they join cruisecasinomafia.com. All right. So there's 2 volumes here right now, and we will continue to create more volumes as we find money management recovery systems that we believe are fair and reasonable to use. So this is one of them, and this has a introduction, and then it's got a bunch of explanations and examples of how to use these money management systems. This week, we finally released volume 2. Okay, volume 2. All right. So, and I'm gonna show you. Not necessarily the systems I'm going to show you today publicly are not all part of these volumes, but one of them is. So you are going to get one of them for free today. So let's get right into it and explain to you the deal here. So we're back at the Baccarat table, all right? And what we explained on the last video is this. First of all, you have to understand, if you put $5 out here, and it doesn't matter where we put it, and we deal the cards, and we win, and we put another $5 out here on banker, and we lose, and we put another $5 out here on banker, and we win. So we won 2 out of 3. But what happens if we have a streak of losers in a row? What happens if we're flat betting, which is what I just did? I never increased my bets. I never went up, I never went down. No matter whether I won or lost, I played $5. The problem is that you can win money. You can win money. But if you get into any kind of an extended losing streak, which happens no matter what bet selection you're using, it becomes a little bit more difficult and a little bit more of a grind to be able to walk away in short sessions with any type of a profit. So what's happened over the years is that people have created various recovery methods, okay? And you guys already know the martingale that I talked about, which is the double up method. There are ways of doing martingales that are better than others, but I'm going to get more creative, and I'm going to show you things that I use. I almost never use a martingale. I didn't say never, never, but I almost never do because I believe that there's more reasonable bet selections that can be paired, or bet money management concepts that can be paired with the bet selection that you've chosen. So let's take a look and let's get right into this, okay? So let's take a look here first. Okay, the first bet selection I want to talk about is one that you guys probably have seen if you're an avid YouTube watcher of other videos. But for other people that are newer to casino gaming, maybe they've never seen this before, and the only thing they've ever been taught is the martingale. So I call this a ladder, or a 2 up, 1 down, okay? So what happens is, the way that the 2 up, 1 down works is that on every loss, we're going to go up. So let's just do a quick thing here. All right, let's make this capital. Okay, so let's say that we won our first bet. We won our second bet. Okay, this is frozen. There we go. And now I'm getting 2 wins. All right, hold on. And then let's say we had a streak of losses, okay? Give it 1 second here. So we had a loss, we had a loss, we have a loss, and we have a win, and we have, whoops, I said we have a win, and I'm still doing an L. Okay, so we have a win, and we have a win, right? There's nothing fancy about this. 2 wins in a row, 3 losses, 2 wins. This happens on a regular basis. So if we're betting $5 units here, we would be betting a 5, right? We do not move up on the 2 up, 1 down after a win. So we're going to still bet 5, right? So it has almost like a flat betting component, okay? Now we get our first loss, right? So let's put our $5 bet out and we lost. Well, in the 2 up, 1 down ladder that we use in a lot of our systems, in our private systems, what happens after losses, we go up 2 units, all right? So our next bet would be $15, right? 15, okay? So we went up 2 additional units, all right? Now, we have another loss right immediately afterwards. So now we would go up another 2 units of $5, and we'd be betting $25, all right? And we're going to bet $25 there. And then we're going to bet 25 here. Well, actually, we had 3 losses in a row, right? We had 1, we had 15, we had 25, and that's a loss too. Hold on a second. Let's just make sure we did it right. We went up to 15. And we had a loss, we went to 25, okay? All right, and we lost at 25. So we're going to go up 2 more units, which is 35. Excuse me. We went up to 35, but now we had a win, right? We had a win. So what happens after a win? This is a ladder. So now we go down 1, and we go back down to 30. Okay, you see how I'm doing that? It's 2 units up and 1 unit down. All right, so if we had another win, right, we would go down to 25. All right, and it's as simple as that. And what happens here is, notice what happened with this streak. We weren't increasing, we weren't doubling our bets like a martingale, right? Three in a row would have been a 1, a 2, a 4, right? So we were not doubling our bets. We're slowing down the progression in a 2 up, 1 down. Now, what you have to understand in a 2 up, 1 down, or what we call the ladder, what normally happens is you start to get back. And this is the weird thing until you try this. Most people don't realize this. You actually can get back into a positive place without returning to your base bet of 5. Okay, I'll say it again. You actually can get back to a positive place without your base bet, without going all the way back down to the ladder of 5. All right. Now, you can also make leaps down. So there are times where you would win this bet and you've decided that you want to play it conservatively. And you can go back at any time to your $5 bet, even if you haven't gone all the way back down, made it all the way back to the ladder. So it's up to you how you play the 2 up, 1 down, is what I'm saying to you. Remember, our objective is to always stay in the game and to get back to our base bet level as quickly as possible. So you don't have to work your way all the way back down to your base bet if you choose not to do so, especially if your bets have gotten up pretty high. You can make the decision to win a few and go down and then jump back down to a lower level. So what does that look like? So what if I won here? Okay, I could continue to play the ladder, the 2 up, 1 down. But what if I didn't want to do that? What if I wanted to be conservative? I could actually jump all the way back down to my $15 bet, okay? Even though the ladder is meant to always go 2 up and 1 down, all right? It's flexible. It's completely flexible, all right? So now I'm going to show you something else. And this is in our new money management systems that we've released. So let me just get down here, and there we go. Okay. All right. So this is our 12th money management method that's provided in the books. This is called a profit tier. That's what I call it. All right. And basically, it works very different than most of the other things that most people have seen. We set a preset objective before we begin our session, all right? A preset objective. And that can be 10 units. So let's say your units are $10. Your objective could be $100, all right? And after any win, we continue to bet the same amount. But after any loss, we increase the bet by 1 unit. So it sounds similar to what we just showed you, but it's not. All right? So let me show you how that works. So we've got a W, right? We've got a W again. We've got a loss. We've got a loss. We've got a loss. We've got a W. And we've got a loss. All right? All right, so how does this work? So let's say that we preset, let's say we're using $10 units and we preset our tier profit objective is $100. So that's tier number 1, right? And we're going to go up by the same amount every tier. So if you're going to play for longer, your second tier would be 200. Your third tier would be 300, okay? That's up to you, but here's how it plays out. So let's go back to our rules. All right. So we preset our profit target, all right, our tier profit target. After any win, we bet the same amount. Okay, we don't move up. So that is similar, right? So we bet $10 and we win. We bet $10 and we win. All right, but here's where the difference occurs. Here we're going to be looking for session objectives, all right? We're not interested in just moving up to either get us back to a recovery. We're interested in making this $100 or 10 units. So let me get over here for a second. Let me get back to where I need to be. So now after any loss, we're not going up on a win, but after any loss, we're increasing the bet by 1 unit. By 1 unit, okay? By 1 unit. All right, hold on one second. By 1 unit, all right? That's not doubling. It's only doubling the first time. But if you have to do more than that, it's not a martingale. It's not a double. It's by 1 unit. All right, so let's go back. All right, so we lose. We bet $10 here, and we lose. So we're going to increase by 1 unit, and that's going to be 20, right? And we're now going to stay at this level. And let me make sure that I'm giving it to you in the way that I explained it in the book. We never decrease the bet on a win or a loss until we reach our preset mini game profit tier objective. All right? So our profit objective that we set was $100, a reasonable profit objective. That's a 10 unit objective. You can make it less than that. I've done it for $70. Okay, you can make it 125, whatever you want, but I like that 75 to or 70 to 100 range. Okay, so now we're now betting 20. Okay, but look what happens. All right, we're betting 20. Well, actually, I'm sorry. We bet 10. We lost. We went up to 20, and we lost again. So our next bet, what are we going to do? We're going to move up on any loss 1 unit. So we're now at the $30 level. The $30 level. Okay. Now, the next bet was a win, right? We're still betting 30. All right. So let's take a look here. All right. Let's just take a look. Let's finish this and then I'll show you what happens. So we're betting 30 there and we're still betting 30 here because we're not going up because we're only going up after a loss. So in this scenario, we won 10, we won 20, right? And we won 30, right? 30 and 20 is 50. But look what we lost. We lost 30 and 30 is 60 and another 30 is 90, right? So we're up whatever that is, $40 or whatever the difference is. It doesn't matter. The point is we are not going down like the 2 up, 1 down ladder, all right? We are staying at whatever level we're at until we reach the profit target, our first tier, which is $100. So let's say we won 4 in a row now at this $30 level, whatever it may be, and we get to our profit tier. At that point is when we will go down back to the base level. We will either finish our session and walk away from the table, which is always a good thing, or we will now be starting at our base level of 10 again, looking for our next $100 profit tier, which would be 200 in this case, right? We're then looking for $200 in total. So that's how the profit tier works. That's how the profit tier works. So that works really well. It works well with even money bets and roulette. It works really well with, you can use it in multiple different ways. Okay, and obviously it works great here in Baccarat. All right, now the third and final method is what we call the pyramid recovery. Now, I have to give credit for this one. All right, we had a system that was similar to this, but the person that I'm going to give credit to actually created a graph for this, and that is a YouTuber. And it's a great channel. He does a great job. So everybody here should absolutely subscribe to Baccarat Man. Baccarat Man. Great job. He has some great content on that channel. So before I did this video, we realized that what he was doing was pretty much what we do, except for the fact that he had a better graph than us. So why not give him credit and show you the graph? And here it is. This is exactly from his channel. You can see his video totally on this concept. And we were using the same math, but we didn't have a nice fancy graph. So this one's really easy to understand. And if you want, stop the video and take a photo of this, and then you can copy it to paper or whatever you want to do so you can practice this. We call it the pyramid recovery. Okay, I think he may call it something else, but I really like it a lot. And the reason I like it a lot, and this is very important. Your first bet is 2 units, but the largest bet that you're ever going to make is 4 units on using this pyramid recovery. You see that? All right. So let's explain how this works. Okay. To do this, you really only need a very small number of units, all right? And you're going to understand why in a minute. So here's what happens. This pyramid, which is way better than our long-drawn explanation was, is very easy to understand or to take this with you to the casino. So you're starting with a 2-unit bet. So whatever your base unit is, whether that's $5, you're making a $10 bet. Whether it's $100, you're making a $200 bet, okay? So this gives you the roadmap, right? This is the treasure map, the roadmap. So with this money management, which is incredible, you're going to do this. You're going to place your 2-unit bet using whatever bet selection that you wanted to do. All right, you can go back to part 1 and look at some of the ones we suggested, or you can look, if you're a member, at some of the private systems that we give our members and try our private systems using this money management, which, by the way, I'm doing this a lot. All right, so here you go. So if you put your 2 units down and you win, you're going to follow this path, right? And you're going to bet 1 unit. So you're decreasing the amount of your bet, right? Big difference between keeping your bet the same as in flat betting or increasing because you just won, right? You're decreasing your bet. Now, this second bet, if you win this second bet, you're going to make another bet of the same amount, another 1-unit bet. Well, what happens if you win these 3 bets in a row? You're going to go right back to the top of the pyramid and bet 2 units again. It all starts over. But what happens if you won your second bet, right? What happens if you won your what happens if you lost your second bet? What happens if you won your first bet and lost your second bet? In that scenario, you're going to bet 1 again the same way. But this time, if you lose this second bet at 1, you're immediately going to return to the 2-bet cycle up at the top of the pyramid. So do you understand that? You're making 3 bets if you're a winner on this side, right? The same thing is happening here if you're a loser, right? If you lost your second bet, you're making 2 bets, right? 2 bets. You're winning your first bet, and then you know what I just did? I screwed that up totally. Let me go back here. See, I was looking at my other chart, and that's wrong. So here we go. You bet your first 2 units. You won, okay? You're going to make the second bet, right? You're going to make the second bet, all right? And then you're going to make your last bet. That's correct. I'm sorry. There's 3 bets here. All right? But if you lost here, it's only 2 bets. Okay? So if you made your second, your top bet, and then you bet 1 and you lost, you're going back to the top. You understand? All right? All right. Now what happens on the other side? You make your 2-unit bet and you lose. Your next bet is going to be 3 units. All right? What happens if you lose the 3 units? You're going to follow the chart and you're going to bet 4 units. And this is your final bet. Okay, this is your final bet, right? Final bet. If you lose this 4th bet, you're not chasing. That's the thing. You're not chasing. You're not putting yourself in the hole. You're going to return back to the 2-unit bet. But what happens if you win the second bet of 3, right? What happens if you win? You're going to make 1 more bet, which is a 1-unit bet, and then you're going to return to the 2. Okay? You see that? All right. It's as simple as that. So these are 3 methods that I wanted to show you. There are a ton of other methods. Well, not a ton, but there's a good number of behind-the-scenes money management systems that we use. And if you become a member of Cruise Casino Mafia, you'll be able to get your hands on all of them. All right. And let me tell you something. Some of these money management methods that we use, it's the difference between night and day. Okay. It's the difference between multiplication and only being able to, subtract or add, but not having the concept of multiplication. Most of the things that most people know are nowhere near the systems that we're putting into these two volumes. And they are meant for long-term success. So the value of these two volumes alone, not even the systems themselves, is substantial. All right. So I've given you 3 different ways of combining a bet selection in part 1 with a fair money management recovery systems in this second part. Go back and review both. And I know that you're going to get a lot out of these videos. We will continue to be able to give you more content like this. But to get the full story, obviously, we hold that for our members. And if you want to join cruisecasinomafia.com, do that by visiting cruisecasinomafia.com. We have a lifetime membership right now, which is substantially discounted from our normal rate, which is going to go up very, very soon. And we're giving you a promo code right now that's worth $50 on top of that discounted. And that's Mafia and the number 50. Mafia and the number 50. And you'll get an additional $50 off. So that is the video for today. I hope you guys got a lot out of part 1 and part 2. Go back and watch. Definitely go back and watch. And you will... definitely should try these out. That's the big thing. You definitely want to try these out. They all make a lot more sense when you're really simulating them. The only way to get a vibe for any of these money management systems is to utilize them. Don't worry about the bet selection. You can go to Wizard of Odds, right, and just pull up the free Baccarat game and set whatever you want to set as your base bet, whether that's $5, $10, it doesn't matter, and follow each one of those different money management systems for an entire shoe or 2 shoes, and you're going to be able to very quickly get a vibe for which one of those is something that makes sense to you. And remember, you're always looking for long-term profits. Trying to make your money back quickly is not the way to go, okay? That's why there are fancy chandeliers in the casino. That's why they're giving you free drinks, because they want you to stick around and keep doubling and doubling and doubling and losing your money. That's it for today. I hope you guys got something out of the video. And remember, go subscribe to our buddy over at Baccarat Man. Baccarat Man. Thanks for the graphics, and he has some great content over there. So check him out. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Bye-bye.